As we are having the orders data, it's time to just showcase the data in our orders page. Here, as you see, the order page is rendered, so we will make the similar of that, so where we can see the order list, and if we click of the order list, we should be able to generate the data according to the order. Every order, that would be a different order list, so that's the one we are going to create. And to create that one in the order page, let's go back here, and now this is our order page. Here, as you see, if we doesn't have that user ID, we should be go back from here, and also you see in the logged we are having the order data details is right there. So now what we can do, we can now generate the data according to that details. So first we're going to create this simple list view. After that we will create the other possible view here. And to create that, let's go in that div on that container. We are going to roadmap on that. So over here, we will make that, as you see, we have the orders. So orders.length. If we have the length, we want to show the order details like orders. And if we doesn't have anything, like if we have no orders length, means there is no orders available, that time we are going to showcase another div, and that div it will showcase that no orders. So no orders. So right now it will not popping up as we are having that order, so it will go and generate. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove one so that it will work in perfect way. Okay, so now in the orders, how we can align, because later on we're gonna shift. As you see, we can delay, like we can roll back from there, and then we can pass through that also. But to make that, let's just put a null check just to go and define that we are going to have one value, which is the no orders. So you're gonna just make a design on that. After that, we'll just go back to forecast the orders. So put a class name over here. I'm gonna make it a flex. Flex should be column, and item should be center. Justify center. Padding Y should be 12, and also padding X should be 4. So whenever it will hit in the small screen, padding X should be 6, and LG padding X should be 8. Okay, it's just go out of the way, or we can do one more thing. I'm gonna just for right now keep padding X as 4, so you're gonna see all the details is here. Now what I'm gonna do first is that I'm gonna put an icon which will be flex. I think it will be flex, file X. Yeah, file X. Why is not giving me the? So let me just import at the top that icon. I just not suggesting here. Okay, so file X. Okay, so that will be my icon, and for that one also height it will be 24, and I'm gonna provide a width of 24, and text should be gray of 400, and margin bottom should be 4. So you will have to see one file icon, as you see, means it will restrict that no orders. Now after that, I'm gonna put an H3, and then it will saying no orders found, and after a p tag it will be there, like it looks like you and of course we are going to use that and oppose. You haven't placed any orders yet. Start shopping to see your orders here. So that's the message it gonna pass. After that, it will generate one button, and in this button we will also generate a link parameter here, by which we'll showcase the link that they can go back to, like let's say browse products. And for right now, I'm gonna just forecast that in our href/home. So it will just go back there and showcase our home data. So from there we will make it make some little small design to make it more creative. So here put a class name, and there I'm gonna make it text which will be a 2XL, font will be semi bold, and text should be gray of 900. Done. And for the p tag, we're gonna render of that class name. Margin top should be 2, text should be small text, and text should be gray of 600. And then text, I'm gonna make it in a center, and max width should be MD. So as you see, yeah, looking good. Now for the button parameter, let's just put an button I'm gonna render as a child, and class name margin top should be 6. And that's it. So that's the design for our new orders found. And now as you're having the orders, that should be go out from there. So now we will showcase the product by which we can just go and create the design. And to implement that, instead of that div, or we'll use the card. So the card, and of course that card already we implemented from the Shadchan UI. And here I'm going to render the card header. So in the card header, I'm going to pass that card title. So in the title, it will be like order list. So we're gonna just showcase the order list value, as you see that's right here. And what I'm gonna do in the container over here, I'm gonna just make a class name, padding y should be 10, so it will be having a space overall on the font and in horizontally. And for the card, I'm gonna just make a class name which going to take us the class name width will be full width. Okay, so that's the card header done. After the card header, I'm going to render the card content. So in the card content, I'm going to also render that our scroll area. Now this scroll area, we doesn't have it yet. So what I'm going to do, let's just roll back to our friend over Shadchan UI, and I will try to find one which is called the scroll area, and it will be at the bottom letter S. This is the scroll area we need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just copy that. And let's just open the terminal. In the second one, I'm gonna just install that. So after having the scroll area, we can now render the properties. So area, and within the scroll area, I'm gonna pass a table. I think the table also we need to render. So now here, I will not go by force, I'll go with legacy path dependency. And also I need to have the table. So let's go in the letter T, and I'm gonna render the table. Okay, so copy that and paste it to generate the table. And I think for this purpose, yeah, right now table enough. Later on, if we need, we're gonna get one by one. So the scroll area is still not okay. What I'm gonna do is to make that scroll area is not, it is not imported. Let's go check. It will be in our components, UI, and scroll area. Yeah, it's there. Okay, so it's just messing with me, but it's there already. So scroll area. Okay, now it's coming. So in this scroll area, what I'm gonna do is to create that table. So it will be table, and now this table is making me table. And what we can do is there, just I'm gonna open that table here. Now my file can read and it can import it automatically. Table. Okay, now see, table is there. And after table, we're gonna pass a table header. So it will be table header, not the head, but the header. And after table header, I'm gonna pass a table row, where the row it will be generated. So in the table row, I'm gonna pass first, it will be that table head. Okay, that will passing the head, whatever the value it will be in the head. So first head, it will be order number. If you just save it, and if we go back to our application, as you see, the order number is just popping up here, and it looks similar like that, right? So we are going to default style parameter of the Shadchan UI. You can see how that design is just implemented. So no need to be much more headache to create the design. And don't worry, if you want to make it in that way, you can do it. You can enter your own class name. Like if I want to make it width of 100 pixel, I can render. There is no of every single component. Like why the Shadchan is much more complemented. As you see, whenever we go in the table, you see all the components, like you can pass the props and you can grab the class name. So as you see the CN and all the class name, you can just appropriately enter there. So no worries about it. Now I'm gonna take a width of 100 pixel for a smaller screen, and a bigger screen, it will be just taking that entire auto weight. Now I'm gonna make it 3, I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 should be there. So okay, 3 4 6. Okay, now after the order number, it will be passing the date. So let's just generate the date. Should be date, and here in the date there will be some more class name here, which will be by default, it will be hidden. Only in the like in the empty screen, it will gonna pass as a table cell, so you should be able to see that as you see the date. But a smaller screen, it will be hidden after the empty. If we just roll back there, as you see, if we come back in the empty screen, there is no date. Okay, others is available. And after the date, we should be taking the customer, and for the customer, I will not get any of the class name, or I think, yeah, no need the class name. I'm gonna just keep as it is. For the customer, it will taking our email parameter. Let's just put the email. For the email, I will just keep that same setup of the one is here. So let's just copy that class name here. I think that is not required. Okay, and for the other two, for the and this one, I think it will be for the total number, should be total. Oh, not total, I think order total. And here I'm gonna pass the status. Okay, and for this logo here, it will be also randomized like class name done, and also is done. Now if we come back here, we will see that a several ratio here we have, and now as you see, it just redirecting on that. We have order number, date, customer, email, total, status. The similar order number, date, customer, email, total, status. So that's the same scenario we are creating here, and we will also make things in a proper way so that the data, it can flow perfectly. Now after that table row on that parameter, like the table header is passing, then we are going to, so table header is done, I think so. Did we miss anything? I think one more parameter is that is the table header, right? So after table header, we are passing the table row. So the table row is done, table header is done. Yeah, now here after table header, we will generate one more component here. And let's just create it first. It will be our order component, like say orders component, orders component.tsx rfce, and this going to hold our order data. So let's render here, should be orders component. And by default, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass our orders, right? Whatever orders we are grabbing, we are just going to pass that in this portion. So that would be order, should be our orders. I think not order, should be the orders. So what are you gonna see that here right now, that order components is rendered. Okay, now we can do one more thing, is that we can just keep that I think the scroll area, which we define that, put a class name, which we're gonna define that as width, it will be full width. And after that, at the bottom layer, so now we have that orders component. So after the table, we can now pass an scroll bar also to having an scroll bar effect. So what I'm gonna do, taking this scroll bar from here, so right now let's see, we have any scroll bar, scroll. No, really, this is, I think is on the scroll area that should having the bar. Let's just see scroll bar. Yeah, with the scroll area is coming the bar, and I'm gonna pass that orientation, which will be as a horizontal or horizontal. Okay, so now it's time to let our order to be flourish. So how we can show the data in our orders component. So let's go and fix that. So this is our orders component, and here we're gonna forecast the data ratio and how we can show the data in a proper manner. To implement that, we're gonna just destructure the orders, which will be the orders directly coming from the as a props, and we will define the parameter, which will be our orders, and here it will be, remember, the my_orders result query, right? That's the type we have. Now after that, we can also make a parameter which will be const selected order, and that will be set selected order, and we're going to define that use state. By default, it will be just taking that, let's say it will be null. Okay, and why we are doing that, remember, because every time we click, it will render only this order data. Every time we click, it will particularly grab the data according to the order. And to do that, as we're using the selectable parameter using the useState hook, we need to make our component as a useClient component. And for this order data, also we need to pass a type parameter, which going to having that my orders result. So that's the query we need to pass. And here we need to pass also, it will be as a number. Okay. So now the error, I think, okay, that will be number or I think null. I think so. There should be another parameter we need to define, or it will be null. Okay, done. Now, as you're having that portion, it's time to make these things to be working in a proper shape. First thing first, let's go in the div, and instead of particularly having that, I'm gonna just take an empty braces to keep the things aligned. And how we can do that? So first we're gonna render a table body. Okay, so it will be a table body. Remember, this is under the table, right? As you see, this is the top of the table. Now we are having the table header portion. Now we're gonna render our table body. So within the table body, we can also pass a tooltip. Remember, if we say tooltip, no, tooltip is not there. And what we are doing, if you just hover on that, as you see, click to see all the details. That's the one we are creating. And to get that, we need to install this tooltip here. As you see, hover, we can see the message. So just copy that and let's just go and grab and install this one. That's very handy. If you're using Shell UI, it's super handy. You see, the design itself is just creating. Okay, so you just need to configure it. You just need to make it the way you want, the preferable. That's it. So no worries about it. You can use it perfectly and without any hesitation. Okay, now as we are having that, so first to use the tooltip, what we need to do, tooltip provider. Let's see if the tooltip is available. So here is our tooltip. So now first we need to wrap that tooltip as a tooltip provider, the way it's showcasing here, provider, then tooltip. So now also you can just trigger up the toolkit. Let's go back here, and now again, instead of that, we can just make that tooltip provider. Inside tooltip provider, we will map through our order status. So orders.map, and individually we will take it as order. And now within that order parameter, we're going to render something, and that render, it will take first of the tooltip. Why is tooltip? Because once we are gonna hover, like entire area or anywhere we hover, the tooltip should appear. That's why we need to wrap everything within that parameter, and then we need to make that tooltip trigger. So that's the one which gonna trigger our tooltip. So in the tooltip trigger, we're gonna pass a table row. So should be table row. And on that table row, we now going to make that table cell, and within the table cell, we're going to pass the parameter the way we want. So first we're going to render the order number. So order should be the order number, and what we're going to do, we're going to make it a slice portion to just showcasing the last 10 digit. Okay, not the first one, last 10 digit. If that one is nothing there, we're gonna just put an A. So what we're gonna do, just last one, with that it will be very simply we can find the order data. Okay, now what we can do here for the tooltip, as you see, we're gonna make the key should be order number, as the number will be unique, and the trigger, it will be as child trigger. If we save, we should be able to see, as you see, the data is pouring up here. So right now, as we are having that, so now also you can just make that one just to showcasing that there is some more or some others, or if it just first, you can make it in the first align to just showcasing that something is also at the beginning. It just depends your natural instinct, how the way you prefer. On the table row, let's put a class name, should be cursor, should be pointer, and also whenever we hover, bj should be gray of 100, and I'm gonna put the default height of 12 so that it's gonna grab this space. As you see, if we hover over here, now the tooltip is not passing anything, right? So means our tooltip is not triggered. Why? It's because you see the tooltip trigger, we need to also pass the tooltip content. After the trigger, we will get that tooltip content, and in the content we will pass the value, the one we want to show. So you're gonna pass a p tag, which will be say click to see order details. Now if you click like hover on that, you should get that one. Okay, let's see. As you see, yeah, you can change the color if you want. I will just go with the default one. Okay, now we are having the order number, and after having that order number, I'm gonna take another table cell. So that one, let's just make that one a bit of design here. Put a class name, font should be, let's say, medium. And after this one, let's get another table cell. And within that table cell, I'm gonna pass our order date. So as you see, that's the date parameter. If we have that order date, like if order.order date is available, only then that will be rendering, and we're gonna pass that new date. And within the date ratio, it should be order.order date, and we're gonna make that .to local data string. Okay, so whatever the data string we are using, it will be just go and grab the local format. Okay, done. After this, let's say grab I think for the date also, let's just pass some class name. It by default it will be hidden. MD should be table, not caption but cell. Okay, after this one, the order data, now it's time to get our email. So in that table cell, we're gonna just pass our order email, should be order.email. And the similar parameter, we're gonna pass it here. Put a class name. By default it will be hidden. SM should be table cell. Okay, so now we can see the email and others respectively. Now it's time to provide our the total price. So in the table cell, we're gonna render our price formatter. Remember, we have one price formatter, and here we're gonna pass our amount. The amount should be order dot total price, whichever we have, and also for the class name, text should be black and font should be medium. So now you will be able to see the price. Now you can make it more bigger, more exceptional. That depends on your preferences. So after this one, we're gonna get our last one, which will be another table cell, and here we're gonna render a button. So what we're gonna do, if we have the order.status, only then it will render. And we're gonna render a span tag. Okay, not that span but a manual span tag. And here we're gonna pass a message. What kind of message it will be there? If the order on dot status, if is equal to, let's say we're gonna put a character 1. So I think what we are actually going to do it, if we come back here, it's just making the camel case. Yeah, that's one of the person was saying why we are doing it in previously. So we can, yeah, I think that's you're right. So we can just simply go to make it in a capitalize. Class name, if we go, it will be paid. Let's say capitalize. Yeah. One suggestion I got that you can make it in that way, which I forgot. Okay, welcome for that. Now I'm implementing this one for you. So now we are having the capitalized parameter here. So now what we can do, we can go and make some default class name. And how we can do that? So instead of rendering this one like that, we're gonna go the second bracket, we're gonna get the capitalize here, and padding X should be 2, padding Y should be 1, and after that rounded should be full rounded, text should be extra small, and font should be, let's say, semi bold. So now you're gonna have a proper ratio here. Now we're gonna render with that. If the order status is equal to paid, then we're gonna render something. And if it's okay, first thing it will be the question mark, and if it's not that, then we're gonna render something. If it's paid, we're gonna make that background color should be green of 100, and also text should be green of, let's say, 600, and also this ratio bj YOLO should be 100, and also text YOLO of 800. So now we're gonna see our forecast as the paid version. Okay, we messed up one thing. We forgot the customer name here. Okay, I think we can roll back on that. Remember, after the email, after customer should be the customer should be before the email. So here we need to provide that. Okay, so should be table cell. Maybe you already know that we messed up. If you know that, you can just keep that one in that proper order. Now should be order, and it should be customer name. Okay, now we have it, right? And for the customer name, I'm gonna keep it like that. As you see the smaller skin, now you can make it more tightful, right? I'm gonna just keep it a simple way. You can make it more complex, more proper, in a proper manner. Now whenever I click on that, I need to popping up this notion, right? That's the one I need to configure. And how I can configure is very simple. I need to write a function here by which it gonna render that on click event. As you see the table row, that will be responsible to click on that. So I'm gonna make just an on click event here. And here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trigger that handle order clicked. Okay, that's the one I'm gonna pass, and I'm gonna pass our order, and that order directly coming from here, right? So now I need to get that function here. So should be const handle order clicked, and there I'm gonna take the order, and the order should be that my order result query, and I'm gonna take that as a number parameter. And here let's define the function. If I just go on that toast dot success order clicked, you're gonna see if it's working. You see the order clicked, so now we know it can still work on that ratio. So now we need to render that. What we call that is that to create on that, this need to be rendered here. And how we can render this is to create that, we need to create the dialog, so that will be a very visible way on that. And to do that one, remember we have that our section UI, we will go and select our dialog parameter. That's the dialog. So from the dialog, if we click there, as you see how it's just rendering, so that's the one we needed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this portion here, and let's just go and install this one to use it. Okay, so what I will do right now, I'm gonna create another component here. So that will be not in UI but in my component, that I'm gonna pass that as order, let's say details dialog. I think it will be perfect name, details dialog.tsx RAFCE. So this one gonna render our orders data. So here like after the table body, so it will be alongside, that's why I use the empty basis beforehand, should be order, let's say order details. Okay, order details dialog. Here there I'm gonna take some of the parameter, so I'm gonna pass our order. So the order that will be the selected order, because the function still we are not passing through, we need to fulfill the function. And how we can make the function should be set selected order, and we're gonna pass our simple order. That's it. You can make the console.log to get the data, is up to you, but I'll just go in forecast way because I know it will be just set on that. We are doing it very long time. And is open, when it gonna open, right? That's the one also I need to check. If we're gonna put a double null check, if we have the selected order, only then it gonna open. And on close, how it gonna work on that, because we need to pass the function, right? So in the function we're gonna define on close how it gonna close, like set selected order, that should be null. So now we are passing 3 value from there in the orders dialog. Okay, I need to get that to go in the legacy pair dependency. So in the order, we're gonna pass the selected order. So that's the order value it will take. And every dialog, like the dialog having an opening shut and also the closing parameter. So click is open and on close it will close. So this both function, as this is my parent layer, right? If I click, it will come back here. So it will trigger, as you see. If I click, it's just triggering. So this just trigger, but I need to also make the functionality by which I'm gonna close it and it will close perfectly. So let's just make a reload. I think, yeah, forget about that error because this is coming from here. So now I think, yeah, that's what it's saying. Dialog is open. I'm gonna just say enter. That's it. It will be just overpassing. Now I need to configure how I will just go and make that parameter to work. And to make it work, I'm gonna create it as a React dot functional parameter fc, and from here I'm gonna take a order, let's say order details, or I will just simply pass that as a props, right? I'm gonna pass that value in the props so that I will know what kind of parameter it's just initializing. So to do that, I will just go back here, let's say interface, it will be props, and in that props should be props. I'm going to define that the order should be my underscore order result, and for that it will take as the number value, and by default if it's not available it can be also null. So that's the one value. And is open, it will be is open, as is a true false value should be boolean value. And after that we will have that on close, which going to be a function, so should be, it will be a bot. That's it. So now our function is good to go. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the three things. So it should be, we're gonna grab the order. You see, once I'm typing, is showcasing what I have is open. Okay, on close. That's the best way to work with that TypeScript. You know, you have the very good combination on the letter. If we have no order, we can now define, I will say, return null. So means if that, whenever we click by mistake, if it's also open from anywhere, if the order is not found, it will automatically close, right? It will not open at all. So now we need to provide our dialog. So instead of div, I will just remove that. I'm gonna use our dialog. So let's import the dialog, and here I'm gonna also get that dialog content. So get the content here, and from there I'm gonna get that dialog header. Let's say dialog header. Okay, so in the dialog header, I'm gonna pass that our dialog title. So oops, it should be, and remember also, because we have that Redis UI, Redis icon and other parameter, all are putting a lots of suggestion, but you need to be very careful to get the proper things. So I need to grab that title. You see, I have Redis UI React dialog, and I need to get from my UI dialog title. Now I'm gonna pass that order, should be details, and here I'm going to render how I want to showcase my order. Should be order, and after that should be the order number. So now not the date, should be number. If I save, if I click, anything happen, click, nothing happen. Okay, I need to pass the is open value. See, now it will not open because I need to pass when it gonna open, right? So it will open once the is open value is available, and when it gonna close on open change. Okay, on open, let's say open change, it will be just go on that. Let's say I think it will be on close, I hope so. It's not the value. Oh, I think, yeah, it is the value, but you see, I grab it the second because it's just capturing this one. So now I have two parameter. I know when it gonna open, when it gonna close. As you see, if I click, it's opening. If I click, it's opening. So it's having the ratio, but I need to make it in a proper way. So let's just roll back in our orders component. Let's see if anything we messed up. I think everything is good to go. So we have the order details dialog box, and we are good to go. Yeah. So that's our dialog, and here put a class name. Oops, should be class name, and max width should be 3xl. Okay, that will be the max width here. Now if we come back here, and you see how beautifully it's opening, but I want to make a reload here just to see why it's not giving me my promising data ratio. What is there? Okay, the card contain the child, something we messed up. Okay, we messed up in the dialog. So let's just go in the dialog. We'll see. So we have our dialog, then we have our dialog content, we have our dialog header, then we have our dialog. Oh, yeah, after the header, so content, after the header, we have our title. So the header is done. Let's just grab a div. I want to see why it's not providing the things it's supposed to be. Okay, that's supposed to work. Anything we messed up? See the dialog content? You see, that's the one I was talking about, because if we messed up, it will be a problem. So we're just getting from the Redis UI. That's why it's just freak out. It doesn't know how to work, you know. So now if you click, okay, you see, that's cool. So that's why I told you, be careful when you're making the imports. So in the div, I'm going to take a p tag, and within the p tag, I'm going to take a strong parameter, you know. So there, I'm going to pass the value, which will be the customer, and here I'm going to pass another, like after the strong parameter, I'm going to pass that our order number, order customer name, I think, order, and that should be customer name. So you should be able to see the customer name. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna just render it like, I think 1, 2 more, 3 times maybe. So let's just get 4 times. So see how the value going to generate. So one, it will be the customer, another it will be the email. So order, and that should be customer, I think email, order email, and then we're gonna get our date value. so the date, and here it will be getting that same parameter. Remember the way we did it. So I'm gonna just render again. So if we have the order dates and we're gonna render, you need to make that because it will structureize on that. If you don't put the and function, maybe the TypeScript it gonna freak out and it gonna cry for some of the TypeScript parameter. So it should be the order date, and we're gonna just transfer that one to local data string. So whatever the local we are using, it will just grab that. And after the order date, we will also pass the status. Okay, so in the status, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass that order status. Done, we're good to go. So now our div is done. Okay, so after having the div, I'm gonna run showcasing the other parameter. So passing the div, I'm gonna generate a table here again just to showcase the data. So in the table, I'm gonna just pass that table header. So the table header. So on the table header, I'm gonna pass the table row here again. So if you're familiar the way we did it, you will be knowing that. So that will be table, let's say head. So on table head, I'm gonna pass, let's say, the product. What kind of parameter we have? If you go back here, we have the product, quantity, price. Okay, that's 3 only. So that should be the product, quantity, and price. So let's say it should be quantity, and that should be our price. So we have 3 header here. So now as we have the header done, now we need to focus to have our table body. So now the table header is done. Let's say table body. So in the table body, we're gonna pass that order, and then order dot products. Let's say order dot products, because individual order having the products, and we're gonna map to it. And here we're gonna get 2 parameter. We're gonna get 1 product. We're gonna also get 1 index, because particularly it can be mixed up. So now we're gonna render from that particular instance, and we're gonna just get that table row from there. After table row, we're gonna pass the table cell. So it should be table cell. So on the table cell, the first instances, we're gonna render our image. If the product dot, you see the product dot image, what I prefer you better do one thing, is that console it before typing that. I know, because I did it multiple times, you know, to practice and to configure the project. So I know what it gonna showcase, but what I let you understand, you better log it. Console log it, see the data value, and then try it again and again. Once you know what is happening, what the result should be out, having the outcome, then go forecast it in a perfect way. Okay, just don't follow me and do it, it will be a messed up. Okay, if you want to learn by yourself, follow me, but try it yourself. After watching, then try again by yourself. So do it in a proper manner. Now if we have the image, only then I can render the image parameter. So that will be my image from the next image, and here I will generate the image source property. So in the source, remember the way we do it is should be the URL for, and on that URL for it should be the product dot image, and after that we'll just pass that URL. Okay, you can also put a question mark here if you want it to, no problem. Now here we can also pass that an alternative tag, which is going to be the product image. If the image is not there, it can showcase the width. I'm gonna give a 50 because it will be a simple small image here, and the class name I'm gonna make a simple property, which going to be, let's say it will be border rounded, should be SM, not MD but SM. So now as you see, we have 2 product. Now there is one catch for you. You can also hook up with the link parameter. Once you click on that product, it will go to the particular product link. And how you can do that? Remember the product card we designed, right? In the product card, once you click, you see the slug.current. So we're gonna bring that. Let's see. We're gonna bring that, and we're gonna see if it's working here. Okay. If we do that and just wrap everything in the link parameter, I don't know it will work or not, but let's give it a try, you know. Okay, because for in here I didn't implement that. If you just go back here, you click, it will not go anywhere, but here I want to just create it. So product, and that should be product dot, let's say product. Now it should get to the Slack.current, and here I'm gonna just make that hover scale, let's say 105. We're gonna pass that hover effect value to provide the design. Okay, you see, that's happening. Now you can just, if you click on that, uh, is it entering the parameter? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's really amazing. If I click on that, it's generating. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's working. That's perfect. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, now you can do one thing. That's for your tags. Once you hover, you see the overflow. You need to stop the overflow. So that's your tags. You can do it. Now on the table cell, as you're having that, after having the image here, so that's the link. After the link, after passing the image, I'm gonna pass that our product, and if that one is available, I'm gonna pass that product name. So the product name, it will be there. As you see, it's getting together in that ratio. So what I'm gonna do in that table cell, let's just put a class name of flex item center, put a gap of 2. Okay, so now it's having a 2 of the gap. And also we can do a little bit more thing if you want. You can make is the to just keep it on that one line parameter. It's up to you. You can pay for it if you want it to. I will just go with the default parameter. Now the next table cell, it's gonna render our quantity, which going to be having that product dot quantity. And after that, the last one, let's say table cell. On that table cell, I'm gonna pass our price formatter, and in the price formatter, in the amount, I'm gonna pass that product dot let's say it will be the price. And also for the class name, it's going to be text should be black and font should be medium. Okay, what's wrong? Yeah, it should be medium. Okay, now we are having the quantity, and also we are having the product perception. I think it's a similar on that. You can make it in the center, and you can do it if you want. That class name text should be center. Is it going? Okay, it's just, I think it will be simple. Yeah, quantity like that. So right now what we're having the proper ratio. So after passing the table, we can also generate one more div here, so where I'm gonna pass our total value. So it will be a strong tab. Here I will pass the total, and after passing the total, I'm gonna make that our price formatter, and here I'm gonna pass the price, which should be the amount should be order dot total should be order dot total price. And for the class name, text should be black and font should be, let's say, bold. So now we have the total price, and for this one, what I'm gonna do, put a class name, then the margin top should be 4 and text should be right. So now we have a total value ratio. So as you see, if we go back here and if we click any of the product, okay, that's cool. Now there is pretty much everything to create on that. Let's just go through it. I want you to settle down if everything is working perfectly for you, because after that we are going to deploy our entire thing. Because right now what you're watching, that's my deployed version. You see, it's deployed, it's live. So that's the things also you should have it if you are following each and everything with me. So before rendering that parameter, I want you to make sure that everything is perfectly aligned. So let's just go. I'm gonna just recap everything. If it's okay, then we will be just referring the parameter. And also I want to change my Fabi icon. So here I'm gonna just grab my previous icon here, which will be properly aligned on that. Okay, just make a refresh. I think this one, it will work. Yeah, my icon is changed, and I'm gonna close my latest version, and let's go and check. So now I have header. If I search, let's say search for the juice, enter. So it's supposed to provide me all the juice data. I can now add product here. I can add quantity. I can decrease quantity. I can go back there. And after that, as you see, also from here, I can filter by category. I want some chocos. So the chocos data should be implemented here, and it should be providing the chocos data from there. So I can add, I can delete. The last one, it will be saying remove successfully. Also, I can filter from here. If I filter the chips, it will appear. Now in the product section, what I can do, I can add product from here and I can remove the product from here also. Now this one, the chili flex pack, which is out of stock, I want that one to be in stock, right? So let's go in my terminal, and here, not in my terminal, in my studio, what I'm gonna do, as you see, the chili flex right now is out of stock. I can't sell it because even I can't click it, you know, I can't render it anymore. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it like I purchased that. I want to make it, yes, it's available, people can purchase. So that will be the chili flex pack. And here I'm gonna just make that one as available for the customer so that they can have it. So right now, as you see in this stock, I'm gonna add 10 pieces and publish. So after publishing it, that should be removed from there, so it will automatically render the prompts and properties, so we should be able to now sell that again. So now as you see, we can now add more products and we can go through it. So let's roll back to create some more product, because after that also there is one more parameter to keep that live, so that lively we can change that one. So in the card we will create an order, and as you see our listener is already open. So go and proceed to checkout. So here we can also open the coupon. So that's the part which we need to work on that. And to make our coupon should work, I'm gonna go in my Stripe to check my account, because we need to create our coupon there, otherwise it will not work perfectly. So if we just go back, I will show you how you can open the coupon. So that's the e-commerce app. I think that's the one we are using, right? So yeah, that's the one I think we are using. I will just check the secret here. Yeah, that's the one. So what I'm gonna do, as you see, we have the product catalog, and from there we can add the coupons, right? So I will open a few coupon here so that we can just render our coupon parameter and we can testify it and we can add it, then we can have the discount. You know, also you can make in that studio to prefetch the coupon the way we are preferring. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go back in my cart, because I will render, as you see the promotion code is available, I need to add the code. Okay, let's just provide a little bit time to load the data. Okay, now as you see, we have a new year. I think this one is creating for the previous one. I'm gonna create a new one. So create a new one, so that one should be Christmas, and that's it. So the percentage, it will be, let's say 20% off for the Christmas, right? And that one duration forever, you can make, or multiple months. Let's put a multiple months, or I will make it as a 2 months, as November and December and January. They can just go on that. So I think that is it. And ID is optional, so the apply is specific for 2 months. Let's create a coupon. So now our coupon is created. If we just go here, as you see, if we just go back for our one coupon here in the new year, which is having 25%, you see the promotion code was the very. So now also we need to add a promotion code. So in that parameter, we need to just go and add one promotion code. So that's the promotion code, add it. And that should be, let's say, new year. Okay, so all are capital. Eligible for first time orders, you can limit the specific customer. I will not choose anything, I will apply, anyone can just go with that. So let's roll back here and again to proceed to checkout. So what is gonna happen, the 20% discount, it should be applicable for that. As you see, we have 2 for 2. So if we go and apply that, let's say type new. Okay, let's see it's working or not. It's checking, no, new code is invalid. So let's say new year, so that should apply, right? So it's applying. You see the 242 and 48.40 is coming, new year 20% off. So now you are getting a dynamic coupon code, right? So we can just go and grab that 4242 and the valid month, CVC, and the name. And this name, it will not reflect, because that's the name for the card holder, like for the card name, okay, not your actual name. Let's pay. So after paying, you know, the things, the way it work, everything, it will render here. It's supposed to fall back to grab the data, and it will proceed all the parameter. I don't know why it's taking more time this time. Yeah, it's taking more time, and unluckily it's nothing happened there. You see, the Stripe can't listen Why? What's wrong? Again, my Stripe is making me problem. This is really troublesome. Last time also my Stripe giving me trouble. So again, this is my Stripe also providing the trouble here. So client API webhook. Then we have our Stripe. We can directly render there. Okay. Oh, that's my bad because I need to change it. Okay, again, one more time. No worries. I'm gonna change that. So I logged with my browser. I think this time everything gonna work for me. So I'm gonna just choose and go back there. So right here, now I can do it again to check if it's working or not. So let's go and try again that promotion code, which is New Year. Apply. So the 20% off, it will be applicable here. I'm gonna go with the default value here. So let's see if it's working this time. Hopefully it's supposed to work. And enter. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this time it's work. So it just because of that you know, the initial token, you just need to log in with Sanity, sorry for this Stripe, and generate a new one as I did, and then now it's working fine. So now it's rendering. I think after everything done, you see I have the orders. If I click, I should be able to see 3 orders here. Now there is one catch, because remember the Stripe, how much the payment is done is 254, but check that align that price is not the actual price, because the okay, what's wrong here? Unique key prop, where we are missing the key prop. That's really that's not good. We are missing that. So where, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, we need, no, not that one. In the table row, we need to provide the key. We can just pass the key as index. That's it. Yeah, now even we come here, it will not giving us that headache. So now there is another task for you. If you just roll back to our Stripe data, if we just go in the transactions, the actual transactions 54, right? 254.40, but is it was actual data? No. See, 318 was the actual data. So now if your customer, if they want to calculate the data, if you just click, if you add that all together, it will be coming 318. Then you can pass the coupon code, then you can show the total payable price. I think that way it can be more reflexive, it can be more customer orientation, right? So it's up to you. You can do it if you want. So now one more thing is that to make the parameter as the live, so I'm gonna close all from here. So let's go back here, and now let's go in the Sanity, in the live, on the live. We will use that. Yeah, we have the revalidation properties. I think that's working perfectly. So one more thing is pending is that to create the draft mode. So to do that, let's go back here. As you see here, there is no draft mode parameter. So we need to implement the draft mode by which we can initialize our draft mode within our parameters. So let's go in sanity config.ts. Here, as you see, we have the Bayesian tool and others in the plugin. So now there is a structure and the Bayesian tool. So after that, we can go and grab that one presentation tool, the way it will supposed to be present on that. So should be presentation tool, and in the presentation tool, we in that tab, we can just focus how the way that should be aligned to make that presentation. And I think to grab that, I think we need to make one package here, which not the package, it can directly coming from that Sanity presentation. So now here we can create a draft mode parameter by which we can present the data. So it should be the preview URL, and here in the preview URL, the preview, the where we want to see the preview, it will be our /home, right? So now we can also forecast that preview mode, right? How the preview going to work. So there will be like once it's enabled, and there we will pass that draft. I think the draft mode, it will be there. So draft mode, yeah, that's it. So if it's enabled, it will force us to go back there in the draft mode. I think where's the error? Something we messed up. Okay, my printer is broken. Okay, I think so. I think we need to add the comma here. Why it's not injecting directly? Okay, that's weird. Yeah, because of that comma. Okay, so now we should be able to see one presentation URL by which, as you see, is loading, so means it will inject here. So with that, we can directly get the feature of initializing the draft mode within our application parameter. So now also we need to create a page in our client by which we will initializing the draft mode. As you see, you can also make it draft dash mode. So I'm going to just keep it like that. So here in the client, like app client, I'm going to use a page which will be draft mode, and there I'm going to create a new page, should be page.tsx rafce. That should be for the draft mode page. So that will be for the draft mode page. As you see, we have one presentation URL. So with that, we can focus our presentation to follow back. Remember the ID we have. So now, as you see, in that / draft mode is there, but we have nothing to match. So now we need to create that page to enable each and everything entirely from our that page ratio. Only then we should be able to get the data properly, right? So in the draft mode, there should be a two value. One, it will be enable, and one, it will be disable. So let's go here. I think no, you should not create the page. That was my bad. It should be analytically getting a two parameter, like that's the draft mode. So one, it will be getting that enable. That should be, let's say, enable, and another, it will take us to make that as disable. Not here, but should be disable. So in the enable, that should be both of the route parameter we're going to focus. So in that enable, we're going to create a file called route.ts. So in the route.ts, we will make that to create our old forecasting visionary. Let's say we're going to define a functional parameter here, should be export const. We're going to make that an async function. Let's say async function, and here in the function the name should be a get method. So let's say get, and in that get method the parameter it will be as a request and request, and in the request the type value should be is coming from as a request, and on that request parameter request, I think, yes, okay. So now in that request parameter, we should be able to generate the request the way we can be handling the operation. So now let's say we're gonna get two properties also, like is valid, and also it will get that. And by the way, from where you can grab that, you know, there is a package on that to create that Sanity preview URL secret. So I'm gonna just popping up that one. So let's go in npm, and there in the documentation is already explained how the way you can grab that. As you see, the preview URL secret, that's the package we need to install to amazingly drafting that ratio and enabling all the parameter we want. So I'm going to just copy that, and here in that application layer I'm gonna install that. Okay, that's one name, this one is having mistake. Okay, so now how it gonna work? You see, the way it will do that, and you see it gonna make the plugins and presentation the way we create that mode, and here you're gonna just render how the way you want to showcase the draft mode, and you see the is valid and redirect to. So that's the one it will going to go and click within that parameter how the way we are going to focus. So feel free to read, and that will make a lot of sense to you, you know, if you just go and read on that. So now there is something wrong because you need to also install that in the legacy path dependency. So let's go and enter. I think this time it will install. So right now what we are missing is that first let's make that I'm gonna import that. I'm gonna import some of the value which will be getting from there. So let's see the sum of the parameter, it will just go, because remember we also need to grab that token here. I think we already prefetch all the token, which the client is Sanity client is there, validate preview URL. You see the URL should be coming from there. That's why we installed it. Then the redirect should be coming from next navigation, and the token should be the process.env, and that one is coming that Sanity API read token, right? So right now what I'm gonna do is that to go and initialize all the properties, and let's say also we need one more properties that we will just make that import that should be draft mode, and that draft mode, it will just import it from next. I think next headers, it's going to be implemented. Why it's not coming? Okay, we'll see that. We'll see that. All right, now what I'm gonna do, let's say const is valid, and I'm gonna pass that await, as is an async function. There should be validated preview URL, and on that we're gonna pass the other value. So that one should be is valid, and also there should be redirect to, and redirect to is equal to /home. Now in that preview URL, we want to pass that client. That's the client should be our Sanity client dot with config, and here we will pass our token value. Okay, and after that we will just make that request dot URL. So the request URL should be serving here. And now as you see, I was showing expected a comma. Okay, I think this one. Now after that we will make that if like no valid. So if the validation is not success, we're gonna pass a return value. So return new should be conducting a response, and that response going to say as that invalid secret. Okay, and we will also pass an status code on 400. You can pass it 500 also, that's up to you. So after that is everything is all right, we're gonna pass the draft mode. So should be draft mode, and you see is coming from the next headers, and here we will just pass that. And now this time as is enable, we're gonna pass the enable mode. So the draft mode should be enable, and the redirect to, it will be a redirect, should be forecasting on that redirect to. Okay, so that is our first draft mode parameter for our like the route for the enable. And now also we need to create another route to make it as disable, route.ts, and to disable it will be similar fashion, but this time we will make it as disable parameter, and this very simple, and like it will be the similar pattern, similar fashion. So should be async a function, and here we're going to define that also coming a get request, and here that should be coming a request, and also the type should be the type of request. It should be coming from the next request from next server, and here we're gonna make that await, and from there it will be await, and then await dot it should be the draft mode, and this time we'll just simply make it as not enable, just simply make it as disable. That's it. And after disabling it, we're gonna return a response, should be next response, not request, next response dot redirect, and here we're gonna redirect within a new URL, and here it will be a /home, and also it will request pass that request of URL. That's it. So now we are having the draft mode parameter and the front mode parameter, but still you see the continue anyway, it's not still shifting. So let's go back to the structure. Now we need to inject that within our layouts. See, we have in the client side, so in the client we have one layout here. We need to inject in our live version so that it will be always be primitively be a structure, right? So first thing first, we need to go to create another button here by which we can disable the draft mode parameter. So in the components, I'll create one more function, like one more components is there, should be disable draft mode.tsx, by which we will be able to disable the draft mode. And to disable the draft mode, we will use some of the properties. So should be in environment, it should be equal to, and we're gonna use that use draft, I think draft mode, yeah, that should be next sanity hooks. So we need to create a hooks over here. I think that's created already, we can just need to be implemented. So I'm gonna just import it, and of course as we're gonna click on that, we need to make that one as use client. So that's the one we're gonna use. So use draft mode environment, so it will be use draft mode environment, and that are going to use to grab the environment, and also const router should be use router from the next navigation. And after that, if the environment variable is not equal to live, right? So means it's not a live project, and the environment is not equal to unknown, only then it gonna pass the message. Then we're gonna say return null. So if the environment is not getting the live and unknown, it will return the null. And also we're gonna render a button here instead of the div. Let's say button, and in the button we will pass that a message disable draft mode. So after clicking on that, it will automatically disable the draft mode parameter. Let's just put some class name. It will be a fixed button, and from the bottom it will be 4, from the right it will be 4, and also bg should be gray of, let's say 50, padding x should be 4, padding y should be 2, z should be 50 to keep all like the top of the things, and the text should be black, and also hover text should be white, and we're gonna pass that hover effect value. Okay, so now we are having a button, and after we click on that, we need to pass a function, should be, let's say, handle clicked. And what is gonna happen once you're gonna click that? So const handle clicked, which going to be generating an asynchronous function, because we need to disable the parameter. And how we can do that? Await, we need to fetch the data from there. Remember where? We're gonna fetch it from the draft mode. Remember where? That's the method which we're gonna fetch is here. So if we just come back here, you see the draft mode, that's the one it's gonna fetch, as we have the disable and enable. So now await fetch, and from there we're gonna select our disable, right? Disable. So that's the method we're gonna choose, and router dot refresh. So the home/home, it will refresh, and then it will provide us the particular action which we are looking for. So that's the button we need to provide, and we're gonna inject that within our layout parameter. So let's go back in the layout here. After before the header, like after the body, we're gonna render that. So we're gonna pass the method of that as should be default. It should going back to as an async function, because we need to make the await formula here. So here we're gonna make that await, and there we're gonna make that draft mode, which gonna come from the next header, and we're gonna pass that is enabled, and only whenever the draft mode is enabled, only then it will take an action. Then we're gonna pass two variable. One is that it should be passing that disable draft mode, and also it should be like visual editing. That's the portion need to be imported from the next Sanity, I think. Yeah, visual editing, that's to be imported. And after that parameter, we need to pass our Sanity live key. So Sanity live will be responsible to render the parameter to inject everything as a Sanity. So is it not acting as live.ts? So let's see, that should implement it, but why it's not working? Okay, let's I think it should be coming from there, Sanity live. Yeah, it's just taking a bit of time to render. So now what is gonna happen? Now we can change the thing in live properties. Like I wanna make a reload, and also that's as well. So all the properties should be reload properly. Otherwise you're gonna just follow through an error. So let's just provide the time to reload each and every single page. Okay, enable app SSR. Okay, something is wrong here. I'm gonna just reload one more time just to see if everything working perfectly. If it's not perfect, we need to fix the things, because maybe it's messed up or some error is occurring here. Okay, I think yeah, we're good to go. So let's go in the presentation mode. So this time the left side should be our website, and the right side it should be generating our documents. As you see, okay, no matching documents because it's still loading. So in the draft mode, okay, yeah, something missing, require HTML text, unable to connect. Check the browser console for more information. Okay, we're gonna check it for sure in the console. Okay, the connection is not established. You set up Sanity visual editing correctly. Okay, it's saying the Visual Studio not setting up correctly. That's why it's not giving the proper data. So if we go in our live preview, we should be able to see everything is concat perfectly. So Sanity, live, and live here. What's wrong? Okay, we can debug on that. I think maybe here, because it probably we put that enable draft mode, then we need to also pass that / enable, because we need to pass that all together, the ratio, so it can render all together. I'll go back to the structure and then try again. I will make a reload here. I think that can be a problem because we are not forecasting how it's gonna choose, because that's just injecting draft mode, then we are not passing any route here. So by default, once it's gonna be taking the presentation, it should enabling that router setup. Okay, now now you see the URL is getting for that draft mode enable. It's loading. I think this time something gonna happen. Let's see. Yeah, so now we are having our application, which is the / of that. I think now the problem is we are not fetching the data. Okay, so why is not so in the preview, why it cannot grab that? So that's supposed to be draft mode enable. If we go here and enter, okay, that's having the invalid credential. Okay, let's make a reload here. Did we have that credential, the read token? So that's the one we need to check. Okay, there is something in the console which the misleading here. Okay, staging map result, register stega. Okay, we need to set the stega. Yeah, that's the problem. We messed up, we didn't set the stega. That's why it cannot forecast like where it gonna happen and how it gonna work. So to implement that, we need to go in the client, not in the client, especially in the Sanity, and here in that lib, let's go back to our client. Here we need to pass our stega method, so that's why it can just interact on that. Let's say pasted stega. On that we will make that studio URL, so on that it gonna know where the URL is going to head up. So first thing first, I'm gonna pass that let's say process.env and let's say node env is equal to, let's say, the production. Then we're gonna pass something, otherwise we're gonna pass something. If it's not production, we're gonna just go in the backtick, and here remember in that our Sanity Studio setup, we have that our all the parameters there. We have one URL there where we need to find that, say process.e not that one, should be process.env dot, and here we're gonna grabbing one thing is that which the next public Sanity URL, so should be next underscore public underscore base URL, should be base underscore URL, and after passing the URL it should be, let's say, / studio. And here if it's in the production mode, I'm gonna just put that https your domain, it will go here. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it like that. So now it can find the stega here. So the studio URL it can, because it cannot read the studio URL. That was the problem. So it's not in the production, means we are in that normally in the URL of which you are in the developing mode. So it can now render the actual URL. It can find the URL for our studio. So let's see if it's working right now. So we're having a preview mode here. Okay, yes, this time as you see, we can now see the data. We can just make it bigger. Ignore that error, it is not a problem. Now as you see, we have the chili flags. So now once we click the product, it will directly render that one within that parameter. You see the chili flags? Now I want to check that. I want to change that chili flags. I will change the pack. I'm going to delete that. You see, after deleting that one, it will redirect that one. Also it gonna impact, you see, live impact. If you go back here and you see here that disable draft mode is enabled. Also why is here, it should be in the right side, right? So let's go in the app, on the client, on that particular layout, why it's still here, disable draft mode. And you see the ring, it should not be the ring, right? Yeah, after keeping right, you see the disable draft mode is right here. Also we can make a border here. Let's make a border so that it will be visible perfectly, and border gray of 500. Okay, cool. You see, Now it's rendering perfectly. So now, because that enable is in dark mode, so I know it's enabled in the dark mode. And also, as you see the chili flags, if I disable the dark mode, it will automatically disable the dark mode, like the draft mode, and it will go back to its previous scenario. It depends on how the way we want. You see, it's not render, it's not taking that the byte, right? Also, if we come back here, but here is okay, right? So now if I just go and click on publish, it should be implementing that as the chili flags without the other parameter. You see, it's implemented. That's how cool it is. So every time now your website can be handled by any of the non-tech guy. That is how simple and how pure it is. It doesn't matter about only the product, it's also can be dependable of any particular parameter. You can now momentarily like edit each and everything. You can edit this one. Once you click, it will automatically it's gonna provide the all data ratio, right? Like you go back here, also you can view the orders. You can just go and check the order data. You click on that, it will render the order parameter like it's paid. Okay, I will make that one as unpaid. Okay, let's go here, let's say it's pending. And after pending, let's see how it gonna render. You see, the pending is available, so means it's not yet paid. Okay, so that's the way we can choose, right? So that's how simple and how cool it is. Okay, so if I come back here, I'm gonna just close that because right now I don't want to change. And from here, it's already, I make it disable, it's disable. So I think everything is working perfectly cool and in a proper manner. So the one more thing is that to make it live. Okay, disable the draft mode. So after putting it live, you are good to go to showcase this project anywhere in your portfolio, because you see this kind of project really can mandate something more. You can visualize it. It's super cool build, a simple application but having a lot of creativity, and you can do more from it, right? So it's our task to deploy that in Vercel with entire our frontend and backend.